YouTube? This is Vincent Valentine EX Turf with another Final Fantasy discussion video. And it's actually a fan theory, like my other ones, except since I don't have my phone and my extra softwares no more because something happened. Is this safety? Especially to be as hard as a breath. Alright, back to the video. This is if Vincent Valentine was Sephiroth's dad instead of Hojo. If Lucretia would have continued her engagement and eventually married Vincent. Would this change the Final Fantasy VII storyline? Yes and no at the same time. No, because Sephiroth would still be a soldier, and he'd still make friends with Genesis and Angie, because at this time Vincent would stay with Shinra because nothing bad happened to Lucretia. So the same thing with Lucretia. Now, first thing would happen, Vincent would have saved Lucretia a lot earlier because, well, Vincent would have done his job and snitched on Hojo before all the fucked up shit he would done. So pretty much Hojo would probably be locked up in prison. He'd probably be locked up in prison. So he can't do, you know, fuckboy shit anymore. So that would end that. Because I'm pretty sure Vincent would tell Shinra everything, because that's what his job was, to spy on Hojo. You know. Instead of Vincent trying to figure out what happened to his father, he would tell on Hojo. Hojo would be fierce and try to kill Vincent, but since Lucretia would have chose Hojo's side, she would have done something about it. She may not be physically strong, but she, you know, she probably would have held him back or hold him down before he got in the gun, so he'd shoot in a different direction and destroy his experiment machines by shooting in the wrong direction. So Vincent would have never died, so there wouldn't be no chaos, there wouldn't be no invincible Vincent Valentine, which I guess that sucks at some point. And then, you know what, Lucretia and Vincent would have their child. Now, what would happen to Sephiroth? Sephiroth's eyes would turn red instead of green. You know why? Even though Lucretia probably had Genova cells in her all this time, you know, Vincent's genes, because Vincent Valentine's father, Grimoire Valentine, had red eyes. Which I don't know how, I guess it's a family thing. Sephiroth would end up being with red eyes. So Grimoire Valentine would be Sephiroth's granddad in this, you know, retold revision of Sephiroth. The good thing, now this would change the story for sure right here. Sephiroth would probably grow up as a good guy. He'd still serve the people, a soldier, help the defenseless, and he'd be the hero he is. So there wouldn't be no need for Cloud. Of course, Cloud would join Soldier anyways because he looks up to Sephiroth. But Sephiroth would stay good because Vincent would tell Sephiroth everything that he wasn't told in the original continuity. Because Hojo lied to Sephiroth all those years. Hence why I understand why the nigga got angry. I understand why Sephiroth burned down the whole town. Because Hojo told him lies all his life. But Vincent would tell him the truth of where he comes from. So Sephiroth wouldn't be as pissed off. He'd be pissed off, but not this much, you know. Sephiroth would be like, I don't care. Which means Sephiroth would have a better life, because he'd be a hero and soldier. You know, he'd be a hero and soldier. That's if Shinra doesn't, if President Shinra doesn't take back control of Shinra, because, you know, President Shinra is not like Rufus. Rufus, you know, yes, there's two evils. Rufus Shinra's a lesser evil, because really he just wants to help people, but in a way that's not in a traditional good guy way to do it. But President Shinra was greedy as motherfucker. He actually started the whole war. Halfway started the war in Wutai just to gain some resources because they didn't want to put a reactor in there because Wutai wants nothing to do with Shinra and technology. They live by the old customs. They live by the old customs, the old day customs. So yeah, as if that doesn't happen. But if that don't happen, Lucrezia and Vincent would stay in Shinra, which means their son will become the top. He'd still become the top class soldier. Because Sephiroth, even though he may have Genova power in him, even with Genova power, Sephiroth trains to become what he is. He trained all the way to become first rank. He will always train with Angeal in Genesis, just like he did before. It'd still outdo him, because even without the power, Sephiroth. You know, Sephiroth is one of the greatest soldiers. It's not only because he's born with a lot of power. It's the fact he knows how to use it. He knows weaknesses of enemies. In fact, the Wutai War wouldn't have been won without Sephiroth on the team. It wouldn't have been won. Even though we got Zack and Angeal, Sephiroth took out everyone. Even the Genesis clones. Now, yes, Genesis and Angeal would be experimented on Hollander. Because Professor Hollander wants to outdo Hojo. Because Professor Hollander is his rival. So yes, both Angeal and Genesis would have betrayed Shinra. But Sephiroth wouldn't join him. In fact, he'd probably let go of his friendship with both of them and fight them for Shinra's sake. He'd still feel bad about it because, well, Angeal and Genesis are Sephiroth's best friends, you know. Those are the people he pretty much grew up with. Saying that, but in this continuity I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure Sephiroth would have parents, so I guess it wouldn't matter too bad that he loses his two best friends, because in Crisis Core, with the original storyline, he had no one but those two, so it wouldn't affect him as bad. And eventually, you know, the same thing would happen with Zack. Zack would get the Buster Sword from Angeal, so Sephiroth would make a new friends in Angeal. And if all this stuff didn't happen, where they didn't fight Sephiroth, I'm pretty sure Cloud and Zack would be loyal to Shinra, because they wanted to be worried about getting experimented on, because they had to get experimented on after they found out that they both defeated Sephiroth, which was mainly Cloud who defeated Sephiroth at that point. You know? But Sephiroth wouldn't betray Shinra. He'd just be, it wouldn't bother him. So with that, that means Zack and Cloud would never get experimented on. So, meaning that Zack would not die, which would change the story, because that means Cloud would be loyal to Shinra. Also, Tifa wouldn't join Avalanche, because Tifa joined Avalanche because of everything Sephiroth did to Eva. That would never have happened. That would have never happened, period. So, take that out. But yes, Cloud would have to fight Barret, because Barret would still be part of Avalanche, because the things that happened to Barret and some of the other cast still happens. Although since Ares hasn't made any friends with Avalanche members, I'm pretty sure she would join up with Avalanche as her test experiment, because she wouldn't know any better. Plus, you know, she did that stuff to protect. She did that stuff unwillingly to protect. So to protect the rest of the crew, you know. Of course, it was just Sang that grabbed her and put her in there, but I'm pretty sure, you know, things would change through that. Now, what that means that Shinra would have domination over the world. Because Cloud and Zack would stay on Shinra's side because they don't have to fight Sephiroth. Sephiroth would stay on their side because nothing bad happened to him. Because Vincent and Lucretia, or Lucretia, whatever you want to call her in any continuity, you know, stays with Vincent, and, you know, they raise Sephiroth. So Sephiroth has parents, you know, legit parents. Because in the original continuity of Final Fantasy VII, Lucretia was a dying single mother. Because she broke it off with Hojo after finding out that Hojo killed Vincent anyways. Because, you know, Hojo's a fucking liar, and you know what? There's not any lower level of hell that could actually fit Hojo. Hojo would be in the lowest level, because if anything, Hojo is actually the true villain of Final Fantasy VII. He's the one who started most of this stuff. I mean, yes, Professor Hollander helped by creating Genesis and Geo, which made them both betray Shinra because they figured out they're monsters. But Hojo actually sprung the bad stuff in the original timeline. Professor Hollander is just a minor person. He's just, you know, he's just a minor Hojo rival. That's all he is. You know, they could stop Hollander anytime. Hollander isn't, you know. Hojo had resources with Shinra. He had resources. He could do 80 damage to a company. Since Hollander didn't make it to working with Shinra, they could just track this dude down. No problem. With Shinra's technology, they'd be able to track him down so fast. You know, it'd be able to track him down. That's like tracking someone who's, you know, who goes on the deep web.